Hello everyone. Today we are going to work on this conversation system. So when I go to this character and press C, I say hi and this guy also say hi, and I can ask questions from him.
What's your name? I am Blue. Are you from around here? Yes, I live here.
So as you can see here, these three dots appear around the character who do the talking at the moment, because since these characters don't have mouths, it's not clear who is doing the talking. So
What are you doing here? Nothing actually.
So when I say goodbye, the conversation will end and we can walk away.
Bye. See ya.
So this is the same system.
Hello.
We can ask the same questions from this red character also, but this character's voice and also the answers are different.
What's your name?
I am Red.
Are you from around here?
No, I'm just passing through.
What are you doing here?
I'm here to meet someone.
Bye.
Goodbye and have a nice day.
Alright, so let's see how to do these parts. And in the initial part I will only set up the basic dialogue system and organize them into the proper data structures, and how to initiate talking and how to initiate the necessary widgets. And in the next part I'm going to work on the inputs, like which question to ask and how to end the conversation and how to start the conversation, those things. Let's see how to do those things. And this episode is sponsored by these generous patrons. Thank you very much for the support you guys are giving me. Right, let's create a new project in the type of games, and here I'll use the third person template. Next, and I'll name the project as dialogue system. I don't need any starter content. Right, so here is the default map. Nothing special about this. We can just play with this default character. Okay, now let's see how to implement our dialogue system. First part we need is we need data. Actually I have, using some text to speech system, I have generated some audio let me import them. So this is what I have planned so far. We can go to NPC characters. We can say hi, and we can ask what's your name, are you from around here, what are you doing here. So these are the questions, and these are the answers are designed for two different NPCs. One is red, one is blue, and they give different answers. So this is what I have planned so far, and I have already created dialogues like these questions, like this.
Hi. What are you doing here?
And
What's your name? Are you from around here?
so like this, and we have answers. For blue, these are the answers.
Hi. I am Blue. Nothing actually. Yes, I live here.
This is for the red.
Hello. I'm here to meet someone. I am Red. No, I'm just passing through.
Okay, so let's import these. I'll name this as questions. Can I just drag and drop folders? Yes, I can. Great. So to implement this dialog system, we need to organize these questions and answers into some kind of a data structure. Basically, then we have to implement a UI part, then we have to implement a character interaction part, so like that. But first, let's see, implement an appropriate UI, appropriate data structure for this. Let's go here under blueprints, create a structure. I'll call it log. What do we need for this? Right, so here I'll add let's name it Q&A, questions and answers. Okay, now I'll change this type to sound wave and change this variable type to a map. So the other type also I'll change to sound wave. Okay, I think I selected something else. Sound wave object reference. Right, now when I add an element, this is the question and this is going to be the answer. I'll name this because there is an inbuilt dialog name asset as well, so I'll call this dialog map. Right, now using this dialog map, let's create a data table and the type dialog map. Why there are two? Just select one, I don't know. I'll call it dialog table. Okay, now I'll add one row and I'll name it red. No, actually I'll just name it 1. And as the question, so dialog table red. So I'm going to use this dialog table for the red character. So question always comes from the player according to the way I have designed it. So as the question, first one I'm going to be hi. That's not actually a question, that's the greeting, or the way we enter into the conversation with the hi. So I'll use this one, and as the response I'll use the hi of red. Hello, this one. And the second one is question is, as I showed you before, what's your name, are you from around here, and what are you doing here? These are the questions. So name, ask name, and as the response I am red. Third question is ask whereabout, are you from here? Response is from red, no, just passing through. And the final question is what you doing here? What's the question for that? What are you doing here? Right. This one, answer from red is here to meet someone. Right. Now I'll call this one a dialog table. Let's just call it dt red, and I'll duplicate it dt blue. So for the blue's greeting is hi. Blue's name, I am blue. And blue's response is, when do you live here? Response is yes. And what are you doing here? Is blue's response is nothing. Okay, now that part is done. Now we need NPC character for blue and red. So let's go to the third person character and create a child character. I'll call it NPC. For the NPC character, we need a variable to hold dialog data table. So I'll create a name, create a variable called dialog. I'll make it public, visible, and change the type to data table. Compile, and as the data table, as the default value, I'll assign dt red and compile. Instead of dialog, I'll use dt dialog. Now in the construction script, I'll create another variable, just dialog map. That's better. And I'll change the variable type to dialog map. Right, now from this data table, let's first check if we have a valid data table. If yes, we can get row, get data table row as the row name. The row name I have used is 1, so I'll use 1, and this out row, so this is in the type of dialog map. I know that, so I can just assign, set the dialog map like this. The reason to set it up like this is because I need to be able to change the dialog map for each instance of NPC character when I place them in the map. And one more thing, we need something like goodbye to end the conversation. So I have generated them too, and the questions for the player, this is bye, and for the red, another bye, what is this?
Goodbye and have a nice day.
And for the blue also I created one, see ya.
See ya.
Okay, and I'll add this also to the data table. So the first line would be to welcome, like say hi, and second line is to say bye. So I'll duplicate. Oh, I can't duplicate. Oh wait, so if we define it like a map, actually there is no how to, oh that's right, Q&A, how to access the questions and answers. Alright, we can do it like this, split, and from the keys I can get so all the sound waves, and from the values I can get all the response sound waves. Keys represents all the question sound waves. Okay, that's for later. Now I have to do a little edit here. Well, it's not a problem. Let's set the final question and answer as the by. So by is question, by answer from the red, like this, and here also by from question and answer by Sia is the answer from the blue character. Okay, now for this NPC character, let's first create a material instance. This must be red, so we can call it the red character. And another material for the blue character. So for the NPC, as the default color, I'll set red. We can change to blue color when we place another instance of the NPC in the level. This is just to recognize the NPC. I'll place one here like this. This is red. I'll name him as red, and another NPC character, I'll name him as blue and change the mesh color to blue by changing the material. And also we need to change the dialog data table to DT blue, because this is the blue and he should give the answers of blue character. Right, so for each of these NPC characters, let's add box collision, overlap all, right, and place it in front of them. Like this. So we can use this to determine when the player comes into this box, we can interact with these characters. So we can use it like that. So here on component begin overlap, we can check if the other character is player, no, other actor, if that is the player. And how to do that? let's implement a blueprint interface PPI player is player, and there should be an output. Yes. Oh no. And let's implement this interface in the third person character like this, PPI player. Then we will get this is player. So as the result of this, I'll return is player controlled. The value of is player controlled. If this character is currently possessed by the player, it will return true. Okay. Now when another character in overlap this box, I'll check is player using that interface I just defined. If yes, let's define another function here, set interactable, and as the input I'll give an actor. No, let's call it interactable actor. Let's just use the type actor. Right, and then here on the other character I'll call set interactable. Oh, target shouldn't be third person character, should be a message. Interactable actor should be self. Similarly, when on the on component end overlap, we should do the same thing, but as the interactable character I should not give any reference. That's because I need to invalidate that there are no interactable characters that the player can interact with. Now let's implement that function also here in the third person character. Set interactable, not to variable, let's call it interactable actor, like this. Yeah, also when this happens we need some kind of a notification on the NPC character, maybe about the head, like talk, press E to talk or something like that. So for that let's create a simple widget. Should be DG interact, just a text would do. Talk E. Now I want this to appear above the NPC's head. let's add a widget. Like this, and as the widget class, I'll set widget interact and compile, and this is the way it looks. That's not the way I want it to look actually. Space, I'll set screen space. Now let's see how it looks. Oh, we can't see it. Oh, it's over there. So I think we need to center this. Yeah, but it should appear only when I can interact. So let's set it hidden in game first, right? And then when the player can interact, get the widget set hidden to false, and when player leaves it, also set hidden to true. See, now Toki appears. Toki appears, and when I leave, it disappears. Great. Now let's create another widget to show the questions. Interface widget wdg dialog. So where should the questions appear? Well, I need to appear them maybe down here, but first we need a button to represent questions. So let's create another widget, question, a button. It should be centered like this, and under that button etn question. Under that button we need a text. It should be left aligned. Let's make this larger. Question. Okay, now here let's add now here let's add a vertical box, be like this, and no need to worry about alignments and stuff at the moment, so I'll just set it simply like this. Okay, and under this I'll add a question widget. Okay, this is the way it appears. Why Why does it have a border padding like this? Alright. This is the reason. Right. Now they are stacked like that. Okay. Also it would be better to have some padding also, maybe from top like this, but we need to initialize these dynamically, so I'll delete them. No, let me keep them for now. And here when we go to the NPC, when we can interact with the NPC, let's add another blueprint interface, PPI NPC. Here let's add another function, start conversation. Okay, now I'll implement that interface here, PPI NPC. Actually not conversation, let's name it start interaction, because we have set it as an interactable object, so we would be able to use the same function if you have other stuff that you can interact with, like open doors, turn on off switches, stuff like that. Start interaction. Okay. Now here let's change this name, instead of NPC, interactable. Okay. Now in the NPC, start interaction event, when this is called, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create widget using widget dialog, and add to viewport. That's all. Also I'm gonna set input mode to UI only using get layer controller, and show mouse cursor to true. And let's call this start interaction from third person character with the key button, or we can define an action start interaction E. Right, and now here start interaction action we can perform only if we have valid interactable object. And for the NPC, we need to hide the, I'll name this as interaction widget. We need to hide this when we start the conversation. Okay, now let's see what happens. See, we get the cursor and we can ask questions, but that part is not implemented yet. And also we can't go out from the conversation mode as well. This works for the other character as well. Okay, and this episode has already taken more than 30 minutes, so I'll do the next part in another episode. So for now I'll stop it right here. So in the next part, let's see how to actually initialize the questions and how to show them in the UI. And when I select one of the questions, the character will ask that question, player will ask the question, and the enemy will respond. Oh, one more thing. Actually, let's stop with playing some sounds. And we start interaction. Yeah, we already have the dialog map. We can get the keys. No, split and keys. Get the first one and play sound. At location, so as the location, we can actually give the player character location, or we can just promote this to a variable. Interacting character, like this, and we have to invalidate this one as well. Get actor location. You can access, get the duration, and wait that duration, and after that, actually let's wait and give some gap. After that we can get the values. From that also we can access the first element, which is the response for the high. Place sound at location. So for this one we can use the get location, but it doesn't matter because we haven't set up attenuation for any of these sounds, so it's okay. Right, let's see.
Hi.
Hello.
Cool. So I'll stop it right here, and let's test this for the blue character as well.
Hi.
Okay, and as always, project files will be available for the download through the Patreon page. Link would be in the description below, and if you like to support my work, you can get the membership of the Patreon club. Thanks for watching. See you in another episode. Goodbye.